Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com, bringing you another fly tying video this week. This time it's the Turd stone. This is a Euro nymphing fly. Catches a ton of fish. I catch a ton of fish on this one. And this is one that Colton, my son, loves to fish too. And it's easy to tie. Even the young guys can tie this one. Give it a try. I was at the symposium this weekend in Lancaster, and was doing some tying there. We had the shop set up, and while we were tying, one of the most common questions that I got asked while tying was, what are some flies that I can tie as a beginner that are easy to tie and I'm guaranteed to catch fish on? And well, there's no fly that you're guaranteed to catch fish on if you don't know how to fish it, but this is one that will catch you fish. If you know how to nymph fish, this is a nymph that you want to use. So this is one of the ones I kept telling guys, wait a week or so here and I'll have it out for you. Got it out quicker than a week. So sit back, watch this, learn from it, have it in your box, because this is one of my go-to flies. Here it is, the Turd stone. Okay, this is the Turd stone. It's a simple fly and just a couple pieces of material. You can see you get these legs that gives it a real buggy look. And the variegated chenille that we use on here, this is the the black and coffee variegated chenille. I also tie this in brown and yellow, but the brown and coffee one is the one I probably use the most. The brown and yellow is a golden stone, matches the golden stone pretty well. What we're going to start out with is a 2220 Daiichi streamer hook, a 5/32 gold tungsten bead, and next thing we're going to put on is some black 140 denier thread, and we're just going to start it up by the head. Going to wrap it on there, then we're going to put some antennas on this. And for the antennas, I'm going to use black round rubber legs. The original pattern, I know, calls for silly legs, but as you know with all my videos, I usually try to give you an alternative, or sorry, not silly legs, span flex. I usually try to give you an alternative to the original pattern, because people need to understand with fly tying, you do not have to have what the original pattern calls for. It will not make a difference. The fish can't tell the difference between black rubber legs and black span flex. So don't worry about it. If you don't have it, we don't carry span flex in the shop yet, but we do carry the black rubber legs, so we're tying it with black rubber legs, and it'll catch you just as many fish, I guarantee you, because I've done it. So what we're going to do is we're going to tie them down, one on each side, and then we're going to whip finish it off at the head here. And we're whip finishing it off right now so we can pull our bead up and we can put the weight and stuff on behind it. So let me get my whip finish going. There we go. Just tying a quick knot here. We're going to bring some thread over it and stuff in a second, so it doesn't have to be a really great knot here. It's not going to be that important there. Now you can see there what I was saying. We need to get one on each side of the eye. As we bring the bead up over, the bead will tend to pull these two together and make them go straight. So if you can keep them one on each side of the eye, that kind of keeps them separated as we come later on in the fly. Next thing I'm going to do is put some lead on. For lead, I'm using 0.015 lead wire. And I'm just going to put about 10 wraps of lead on here. Okay, you can use more if you want. You can use less if you want, and use none if you just want the tungsten bead. One idea to do here, I do it for the little added weight because I do use this as a check nymph, as a Euro nymphing pattern, and I like to get them down quick. One tip I can give you here, when you weight a fly, say you're tying this and you want a couple different weights, because you know you're going to be fishing different depths of water, so you want to, if you're fishing a deep hole, you want more weight to sink to the bottom faster to get you into the strike zone. Say for instance you want to tie 20 wraps of lead on this. Tie 20 wraps of lead on it, use a gold bead. Tie 10 wraps of lead on it, use a black bead. And then all the ones in your box that have 10 wraps of lead, you know they're 10 wraps of lead because they have the black bead. So that's one way to separate the way you weight your flies. Okay, now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a tail, and I'm going to do the same thing on the back. Just going to get that started there, put a couple wraps. Another little trick with this rubber legs here. When you get to tie them down tight, give a good pull on it. It'll flatten out. Especially, it's really important when you're tying up here at the head. The reason being because you have to get your bead back up over these rubber legs. So if you give a pull on them, it shortens them, or it cuts down on the diameter of them, I should say. But they're still the same diameter out the back of the fly. So there we go, we got our tail now, and we have our antenna. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some legs on this fly. And the way I'm going to put my legs on it, this is a size 8, like I said. If I'm tying a size 12, I might only put 2 sets of legs on it. But since it's a bigger fly, a size 8, I'm going to do 3 sets of legs. So what I'm going to do is about 2/3 of the way back here, I'm going to tie in on the side. I'm going to get one of these going on the side about 2/3 of the way back. Okay, then I'm going to come forward, and I'm going to tie up here on the front. I'm going to get this to tie in on the side of the fly, on the opposite side of the fly. Not the same side, but the opposite side. And then I'll tie it down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to crisscross with the next one. So I'm just going to make an X with my rubber legs. I'll start it on this side. I'll get it tied down on this side. And then I'll bring my thread up. And I'll bring this across the fly, and I'll tie it down on the side on the other side of the fly. All right, and then we'll tie it the rest of the way down. Okay, now these rubber legs are long. You can shorten them up, and like I said, use whatever kind of legs you have here. If you have silly legs work great for this fly. Don't be afraid to try other rubber leg materials. Okay, you know, if you're just starting out, maybe you have some old bass fishing spinner baits and you have some skirts laying around. Use the rubber off the skirts. I always stress in my flies, don't worry about what the original pattern says. The original pattern, yeah, it's proven, but there's other ways to do it. Just stick with the basics. Like I said, we're still putting rubber legs on this. It's just a different kind of rubber leg. Okay, now I'm going to trim this off, and I'll show you how I got all these legs tied in here. And trim them close to length to where I want them. Okay, and you can see they all go opposite of each other. The two in the middle here, I have them going back a little bit. That's good. They'll go where I want them here in a second when I wrap the chenille on. But you got the gist of it, how they all lay across the top and they cross each other. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring the variegated chenille. We're going to bring our thread to the back and we're going to tie in the variegated chenille. Like I said, this one is the black and coffee. And we're just going to tie it in at the back. Alright, and then we're going to bring our thread to the front. Wrapping it in around between all those legs and getting it up here behind the bead. Once we get it up behind the bead, we're just going to wrap our chenille forward. And this variegated chenille will give you a nice mottled look as it goes up through there. The color will change, gives it a real buggy look. And once I get up to, I like to cross over on the top of this fly. I like to cross between the legs on the top, and it separates the two legs nice. Okay, and we just keep going up, and every time I cross over on top, that way you're sure you're covering up the rubber leg junction too. Okay, and we'll just keep working our way forward, crossing over on top every time, and going the whole way to the front. And then once we get behind the bead, we're just going to tie it off there. Trim off our tag and whip finish. Okay, then once we get it whip finished, with our antenna out of the way, there we go. We'll trim that off, and then we're going to go in and just make sure we have all the antenna and tails the length we want them. Okay, and we're done, and there you can see the finished turd stone. It's really simple to tie, and it catches a lot of fish. This was, I believe, a Lance Egan fly, one of the ones that he check nymphs with. I use it religiously. My son uses it a lot, loves to fish this. He's got one hole in particular that he lost a really nice fish in, probably twice, I think. I know that fish is there. I know there's a nice one there, and he keeps missing, and he gets all worked up. So give this fly a try. This is one you definitely want to have in your box. Thanks for watching, guys. All the material you need to tie this, you can find at the shop at holsingersflyshop.com. Thanks for watching, and please tune in and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook and Instagram. Until next time, guys, I'm Sean Holsinger.